are continuing with the discussion on the sidelines of the 62nd session of the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women that is currently taking place here in the United Nations. And as we have said, the South African Parliament has sent a strong 6-member delegation here to participate in the discussions on the important matters affecting women as well as girls, particularly those that are residing in the rural areas. Now we are joined by Mama Delisile Ngwenya, who is a member of the delegation from the South African Parliament. You have been involved in a number of discussions. You have attended a wide range of meetings. In fact, as we are talking now, you just came out of one of those meetings. What is your general impression about the whole discussion here on a very important matter that affects rural women and girls?
Okay, thank you. Yes, since I have been here in the beginning of the week, I have seen that the issue with rural women and girls, it's not a problem that affects South Africa only. It's a global issue. We have very common problems and challenges that our women are facing in the rural areas. Even though some countries like we do will have 1 or 2 unique challenges. But as I've been attending all these side events and the General Assembly, it is my opinion that economical freedom is the first thing that we need to attain for these women. They cannot be able to sustain their lives and be at the level that we are hoping to take them to without the economical freedom. And for that to be achieved, education takes a very integral part of that, quality education. And I am very concerned with the level of education that our kids are getting, especially in our country at the moment. And it concerns me very much that it is even considered to lower the passing rate. And I feel that will also be at the detriment of the children of South Africa. But again, I'm thinking that political education is very important. They need to be taught of their rights. They need to be taught of who should be held responsible to make sure that they get what is rightfully theirs. Having said that, we go to healthcare as well. We know that in rural areas we have a very high mortality in South Africa. People die because of the proximity of the clinics. Hospitals are far, they cannot get there. We have women who are pregnant who can hardly receive antenatal care. So we need to look into such things. But it is also important, consultation is important. These women have voices. They can speak for themselves. We need to make sure that we go to them. We are reachable and they're able to speak to us with what is important to them. We cannot make such important decisions on their behalf. So I think that as the Parliament of South Africa, especially the NCOP, we have, I don't know what to call it, but we are able to reach the provinces. Every province, all 9 provinces of the country. We are able to reach the ministers and the MECs. So as we go back home, I think it is very, very important that we go back, call the ministers, especially ministers who are working with land, who are working with women, education, health, social development. They must come to this party and make sure that these things happen. This is the 62nd CSW, which says to me, they've been talking and talking. We don't see anything happening. So I feel it is time that implementation is done now. And in my view as well, our constitution has to be revisited. There are things that need to be changed in that constitution that will help these women, not just rural women, not just girl children, our youth altogether, to change their lives and take back to South Africa to where we wanted to go. Like, for instance, issues like ukuthwala, issues like ukungena, issues like ukuhlolwa. I think those things should be criminalized. If someone is found to be doing that to a young woman, should be taken to jail. And we must also make sure that the sentences are harsh, that an example is made of these men, that things must change. Women are not objects. Women are rightfully in South Africa as members of that citizen, and we should make sure that they have equal rights to their counterparts, the men of the country as well. Yes.
And also talking about the issue of land, because Parliament has begun a process now to change the constitution for expropriation without compensation. And the view that has been recurring throughout the discussions here is that land ownership by women is very important. So how do we ensure that during that process of ensuring redistribution of land to the benefit of the previously marginalized and deprived black majority, that is not made only to favor men, but also to ensure that women benefit. After all, women constitute 51% of the population of South Africa. Yes,
and they make 80% of the women work the land, and only 2% of women in our country own the land. That is a very serious problem, and for us to make sure that this happens, the education is also important as well. You cannot own land and not do anything about it. So the aim of owning land is to making sure that you are economically viable and you are able to take care of yourself. Therefore, women, they need to own land, but they need to be taught how to use the land to their advantage. So we need programs in South Africa, in the world as a whole actually. Women should be taught, girl children, they should be encouraged when they get to university to study agricultural sciences. They must be encouraged, because in the past it is looked at as a man industry, Now we need to go out there and make sure that the young children, our youth that are still going to school, must be taught the need and the necessary ways of making their land work for them. Even in a primary level, we have to have in our curriculum studies that teaches something that has to do with agriculture, farming, breeding, all sorts of cattle, sheep and all of that. It is very important as well. The government needs to have those programs, not in paper, programs that will go out there and make sure that those women are taught to be able to work that land. And indeed, they should own land. It is their right. They are South African citizens.
And I'm thinking that, women being taught how to make use of the land economically should not be a problem, because in any event, the statistics say that 80% of the food that we consume, as you correctly say, is produced by women. But the women are only owning 2% or less than 2% of the land.
Well, making sure that money is available for them as well. It is my view that we would probably need to consider having an agricultural bank where funds are there solely for agricultural use, so that they're able to buy the equipment. We have a problem of water in South Africa. The Minister of Water and Sanitation must come into play, and we must come up with ways of how are we going to help these women to be able to have water. So if we have all these resources for them, including money, capital that is there for them to be able to start farming their land, then that would be very good for our women. Yes.
Honorable Ngwenya, thank you very much for joining us on the sidelines of this important session of the Commission on the Status of Women. Thank you for the discussion.
Thank you so much.